Hello, it's Basic Block Radio here in Berlin at the Berlin Blockchain Week. With us today is Anatoly Ressin. We hosted Anatoly already in one of our Basic Block podcasts, number 65. Go ahead and listen to it. But today we will talk about the PARSIQ project that Anatoly is involved in. Tell us more about it. The company evolved from some of our past projects. We're applying some of the things that we learned from our previous work to implement integrations with various blockchains and automatically parse them. It turns out that everything we were working on could efficiently be turned into a powerful toolkit for programmers. The idea was to simplify the process of connecting to some blockchain network and extracting events from there. And we don't mean those smart contract log events that Ethereum dApp devs got used to, but well-defined low-level events that are based on different blockchain activities, like an ordinary ETH transfer, or an ETH transfer inside a smart contract or destination of a transaction fee, meaning that ETH that we have spent in transaction was split and a tiny piece of it was sent somewhere, forcing us to dive deeper and investigating where this piece went. For example, when someone has mined some particular amount of Ethereum, how would you find that? How would you check that? Such information is also contained within the streams of events produced by the PARSIQ platform and sent to be further consumed by other systems. What we actually did is we took the Ethereum parity node and made an instrumented version of it, meaning that we filled the tracing part with our sensors and listeners on the Ethereum virtual machine level. This allowed us to produce streams of events. Then, we have invented our own language called PARSIQL to manipulate those streams. In some sense, PARSIQL got its influence from the reactive X tools that have reactive streams and operators that can be applied to them. Using PARSIQL language, we can create smart triggers, our own technology for processing all of those blockchain events and routing the results further for transportation. Currently, in the PARSIQ monitoring beta, we have implemented a few transport types, like Telegram, email, and webhooks. However, we have a whole list of planned transports to support. Transports that we plan to support are Telegram, email, SMS for business users, and webhooks, WebSockets for developers that are building integrations towards our platform.
А для программистов это, естественно, типа веб-сокеты, веб-хуки, и, для тех, кто что-то более корпоративное, enterprise, хочет это MQP.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. One of the use cases is the following. For example, I want to develop my own super wallet for Ethereum that has a feature for sending notifications to users in case something happened, and none of the ordinary Ethereum clients provide such information. I set up an instrumented parity node, set up PARSIQ, connect them together, and then start receiving events in case some user has received tokens or some smart contract will emit an event. This event is then processed and turned into a notification and finally sent to the user? The use case is really similar, except the one thing. Everything you have just described is a particular situation when our platform is running on-premise. It's important to note that our platform not only processes events, but fills a huge database of events and additional information extracted from them. This is done to achieve two purposes. First, historical data accumulation for the sake of blockchain retrospective analysis, and the second one is to support reliability and recovery to avoid blackouts and downtimes. Later on, if something goes off, then this database will be pulled for all the unprocessed events to be processed as they were meant to be. All of the PARSIQ products are commercial. However, it will take time to reach that point, and we have already started providing a completely fee-free solution for early adopters to get familiar with. We want them to play with the platform and help us shape it and make it better.
программистами, чтобы они приходили, поиспользовали его, посмотрели, как это используется. И в основном это наше как бы клауд-решение.
Is it all about Ethereum, or what other blockchains do you support or plan on supporting? No, it is not only about Ethereum. Ethereum was selected as a pilot blockchain for the sake of the MVP. And we can say that our monitoring product consists of two parts. First one is based on low-level blockchain adapters, similar to the one that we provide for the Bitcoin blockchain, where we can not only track crypto asset movements, but also other interesting things, like data following the op-return opcode, which allows persisting additional non-financial information inside the Bitcoin transaction. Those are the types of things we will listen to, extract and provide in the form of native event streams that can be consumed for processing. This way, we have an instant support for Bitcoin with a bunch of forks. There's only one exception, which is privacy-oriented chains and protocols, where we cannot extract meaningful data, but only facts. While we were having a conversation with guys that implement a mixer, Anatoly has joined the conversation and we have observed the clash of two different worlds. Anatoly, can you agree that there are privacy-oriented technologies trying to mix and hide everything up, and there are PARSIQ-like solutions doing the opposite? Even the data that is basically not encrypted and lies on the surface, like Ethereum log events, requires additional effort to be extracted and processed efficiently. With PARSIQ, everything becomes quite a lot more simple, allowing the focus to be on the data processing itself. Here we have two use cases. One is for the developers, so they could speed up the development process, make better products in shorter time, integrate to blockchains faster, and basically everything else that requires extra effort. One of such problems known by the programmers is stateful computations, when the software maintains some state that is constantly changed because of external input events, like the ones we produce based on blockchain activity. And the second use case is purely for adding more transparency and building a compliance layer that can be used by banks and exchanges. I have to explicitly note that in PARSIQ monitoring, we do not perform analysis, meaning that we do not say that one wallet is fraudulent and another one is not. In the scope of PARSIQ, we are developing other products in parallel that target analysis, analytics, and reports. I see. So as a funny analogy, if PARSIQ could track a person, for example, Herr Mueller, one could technically see if he went to a strip club or a bar or a sex shop. PARSIQ gave you that information, but the conclusion you have to make for yourself. Right, but there is one very important thing I have to mention. We allow integration of third-party tools like Chainalysis, Bitfury Crystal, for example. Some transaction happens on a blockchain. We convert it to some meaningful event and send it to process further. We will also allow pulling of third-party data during the event processing, so that it would be possible to check whether either of the addresses is fraudulent or something of the sort. What is the state of PARSIQ right now? What is implemented? Are there any clients already? Regarding the clients, early adopters, we have many negotiations with custodian services who enjoy the part where we can track ETH that passes through smart contracts, which is not that simple to do with other ordinary tools. There are also a few other projects that were interested in using us in combination with Chainalysis and other similar toolkits. Currently, we have our public beta available at beta.parsiq.io, where you can register, play around, and write smart triggers using PARSIQL. You can also connect to Telegram to see the notifications flowing. We cannot fully promise stability since it is still in beta. Gathering feedback is very important to us at the moment. We'd like to improve everything, including the PARSIQL syntax, or eliminate anything that might be confusing. Do you have any final thoughts about Berlin Blockchain Week? Did you enjoy the DAPPCON or maybe other events? Did you visit any other meetups?
Ну, в принципе, это, наверное, первый такой
Well,
вот
it is the
страйк
first continuous chain of events where I have participated. I can say that this is an extremely fascinating experience. A lot of events raising the anonymity question.
Буквально
Just
вчера
yesterday,
общался
I had a meetup
с
featuring one
любимой
of my
темой
favorite
времени,
topics,
и мы, наверное,
time in blockchain.
часа полтора
And I have spent
в
nearly one and a half hours talking with
и
Anatoly Yakovenko from Solana about time,
вселенной, времени
universe,
и
and their relation to
соотношение с
blockchain.
блокчейном. Это
That
было
was super
очень
cool.
интересно.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anatoly. We will keep following PARSIQ's progress very closely.